So why do men get so offended when women that they did not do right by and had no intentions of doing right by decides to f one of their homeboys?
What is going on? I'm not about to answer. Trip, I'm not about to answer this. I'm not about to answer this. I know, but all right.
But I also want to know. But I also.
Now what the?
Hold on,
But
y'all.
I also want to know, how long should I wait to spring it on him that I want to spring?
With the homie? Okay.
You on TV
I love
now.
his friend.
Surprise!
All right.
I want to his friend. Yeah, I want to know. How long do I have to wait?
Word is we might be. It's not confirmed, allegedly, but very clear signs that we might be in another Derrick Jackson moment. I hope this isn't the downfall of these individuals, as much as I disagree, because we know what happens on the Tonight Conversation is they hand out hot cups of decaf. Decaf. Of course, we're talking about coffee, but it's decaf. You know, you're sipping it. You think it's real coffee, but you're wondering why you don't feel shit. You don't get that hit. You don't get that hit. Yeah, it tastes like coffee, but when it goes into the bloodstream and it starts digesting in your stomach, it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing, which is making you feel better. Somebody sends me content, and in the content, I click on it and it opens up a floodgate of other videos in my algorithm with headlines attached to those videos that read downfall of tonight's conversation. So what's going on? Number one, it's all over the place. And it took me a while to figure out why it's all over the place. And when I finally realized that a bunch, if not all, of these cast members have signed NDAs and can't give details as to why they're leaving, then that has created the type of environment where a lot of these chicks are getting online, mostly the women, talking shit. They're beefing with each other. A lot of women going back and forth. Trip just left the Tonight Show. You have Keita, who just left, and also Kitty left as well. But there really isn't any concrete evidence that this is why there's dysfunction. Now, of course, with people having NDAs and whatever else is going on over there in the Tonight's Conversation, you have all these allegations, right, of men having multiple women and modern women getting their cheeks clapped, maybe while on tour, outside of tour. The stuff you'd expect goes on when you have a group of people who don't drink coffee, most of them not married. Here's what I don't want this to turn into, because again, so much of this is so muddy because of the NDAs, I'm assuming, that this can easily just sound like gossip. And I don't want this to sound like gossip. Here, we talk about real life issues. Yes, highly entertaining at times, but we talk about real life issues. But I don't want this to turn into some sort of gossip thing. So I'm going to leave the alleged stuff out of it. We're going to move into the stuff that we do know. All right, so first things first, what I'm going to show you guys first is a video that I received that kind of let me know what's going on over at Tonight's Conversation. And this was a video of Trip and him sharing that he was leaving the platform. Let's check it out.
It's a lot of cliche things I could say. And so I'll choose this one. In order for new chapters to begin, old chapters have to end. And so with that, I am announcing my departure from Tonight's Conversation podcast. It's been quite the journey. The community I've gained, the perspective I've gained, have been invaluable. I'm eternally grateful to every single person that's ever shared with me how this space has positively impacted them and broadened perspective for them. This is not a goodbye. I'm not leaving the lane. I'm leaving the platform. So if you would like to keep up with me, holla at me here. Follow me. Follow the podcast at Trip Fontaine on Instagram.
All right. That seemed like it cut off too early there. And so this was his message, of him leaving tonight's conversation. And I hope he finds a stronger place that is more in line with the direction he wants to go. Like he said, he's not leaving the lane. So I'm assuming he's going to be talking about the same type of things. And while I've caught Trip on multiple occasions not serving coffee, there are times where he has some very insightful things to share, some things that I've listened and been like, okay, I've never looked at that particular situation that way. Because, it's hard to fake sincerity, right? And I get the vibe that there's a certain level of sincerity when it comes to Trip. And I have to say that. So a lot of people were surprised when they found out that he was leaving. Got a few comments here that say, Keita and Randy, take notes. Adults act like this, not messy children. I'm sorry, not messy childlike behavior. And so this person is responding back to Keita Rose, and the chicks are on there beefing. I'm not going to get too much into the drama. We're not going to get into the gossip here. We're going to stick to the facts of what we can see with our own eyes. Somebody else here says, I truly was inspired by Trip. Another person here says, thank you for being the adult in the room. And Trip, where are you going? So it sounds like he is starting his own thing. If I've learned anything about YouTube and the behind the scenes, if you're somebody who probably wants to get into this content thing, you'll soon find out that it's a mess out here. And one of the best things I've ever done from the very beginning, and this wasn't really intentional until I realized how significant the decision was when I made it, was to stay out of it. To stay out of what, Chisha? Just to stay out of it. Just to stay out of it. And if you've been following me and been subscribed to the channel for a while, you know exactly what I mean. When you're a spectator looking at this type of a situation, when I say this type of situation, I'm talking about what a lot of people are calling the downfall of tonight's conversation, and Ace Metaphor, who is the founder of that conversation, pandering to women and building this reputation, false reputation, women falling for it. The thing that I believe boggles the people on the outside looking in is, how are you falling for this again? How are modern women falling for this again? And instead of me playing a bunch of videos of a bunch of chicks justifying themselves, we're going to give the spotlight to some men right now. That's what I decided. And I think like no one is more confused and thinks to themselves, you can't make this shit up. Because it just happens like clockwork. We all saw it coming. How did you not see this coming? How did you not see this coming yet again? And there'll be another person yet again. But here's some guys who are, I don't even want to call it in disbelief, if I'm going to be honest with you. I think they just sit back and kind of laugh when they see this type of a situation happen yet again. Check it out.
Haven't y'all figured it out yet? Every time there's this social media relationship guru, every time he says something and all of you agree with it, yo, doesn't that ding off a red flag to y'all? Y'all didn't learn from Derek Jackson?
Nope.
Like, I don't understand it. And y'all fall for it every time, bro.
Right.
You guys are so emotionally volatile. They game on y'all, bro. Y'all the awake, they game on y'all, bro. They make money off y'all. Y'all must say this. Boom, I'm gonna say that. And all the women gonna go crazy. Yeah, I'm gonna say that. And it works every time, bro.
Right.
And then when men come in there and actually say something reasonable, say something logical, y'all push back crazy like, yo, he gave you solid reasoning.
Mm.
And then now everybody wanna pull back from tonight's conversation. Well, I'm having a conversation right now. Y'all gotta get it together, bro. Stop being emotionally manipulated, bro. It happens to y'all every time. Every time. All it takes is a dude to get up there, black women this, black women that. We should be getting this. Date everybody. Get the money, sis.
So
Y'all getting finessed, bro.
right.
Stop getting finessed. Gotta stop getting emotionally finessed. Y'all get emotionally finessed all the time by these dudes, bro. Please stop, bro. Get some help, bro. Listen to dudes who have solid communication and a logical response for what your problems are, bro. Y'all run into dudes who just agree with y'all for everything. And that's your problem. Y'all don't want to really sit down and take accountability and be like, okay, all right, this is where I'm going wrong. This is the problems that I'm running into. I'm running into the same problems. No, you don't want to hear that. You don't want to deal with it.
Right.
You want somebody to call you a queen and pat you on your back and forgive all your wrongdoings, bro. It can't work like that no more. Y'all got to stop getting emotionally finessed. Y'all getting emotionally finessed by these dudes, bro. Stop.
You know, it's kind of crazy when you think of what it takes for these panders to be exposed. It's not what they say and how crazy it sounds that he's telling you that men don't cheat and that's not something that could possibly happen. Let me tell you something. If you value marriage today, because someone in my last video didn't like that I said this, I absolutely believe that you should sit down and have conversations that are difficult to have. You should bring up prenuptial agreements because your marriage can fail. How is that something? Go outside, look around. People think it's crazy to even have the conversation about what if this didn't work out? They don't even want to talk about that. There's a guy out there who it's always going to be perfect. And no, it takes two people. So you ask yourself, what if it didn't? Okay, then the next question should be, what would make this marriage fail? Well, maybe if we had different definitions of what marriage was, then that would guarantee failure. If you met somebody and they were playing a whole different game than you were, you thought you were about to play basketball and they're playing hockey, your definitions are off. Most people don't even know how they define a marriage. Their first thing is looking for that spark, butterflies, feelings. They're not grounded in values. They don't know much about themselves and how they define a marriage. And on the note of not being able to define your relationship or not being able to define a marriage, on that note, I think that's part of the reason why tonight's conversation whole dynamic probably struggled and really didn't equal to much real life progress, because here you had chicks who were just concerned about getting a rich man, right? They brought on everybody. There wasn't one goal in mind, usually when you saw those conversations play out. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody needs to have the same goal, because everybody has different things they value. But when you bring a bunch of different people who have a bunch of different problems and have a bunch of different goals, then you are going to create an environment of confusion, because most people, at least myself, because maybe other people won't be able to admit that, I know that if I'm focused on a goal, then I have to shut off all the other things. If I'm focused on marriage, if that's my goal, then I can't date or think or carry myself like I'm out here looking for the next chick who I'm going to sleep with. Now, was there a time when that was the goal? Yes, there was. But did I eventually decide, you know what? I don't think this is a healthy way for a man to live. And that is my belief on how I view life. And then I decided to align myself with that new belief and value so I could uphold it in real life. But you can't even get to figuring out what destroys a relationship or marriage if you don't know how to define your relationship and don't even know the things that you value in your own life. You can't even get to some of the other topics like cheating, for example. Another topic people don't want to talk about. You need to sit down with the person who you plan to be married with. Hey, so what if infidelity happened in this marriage? Because it can. Most people just approach a relationship thinking, if we don't talk about it, it'll never happen, right? There'll never be any financial distress. How you handle it if I lose my job and go broke? All that stuff needs to be discussed. Who's going to wash the dishes? How many children do you want to have? The more things you can talk about before that marriage, the better. The better you understand yourself, the better you understand your partner. Are you willing to deal with a chick who doesn't know how to cook? And you might have to spend more time in the kitchen with her. Are you willing to deal with a man who says, listen, my last 2 relationships didn't work out because I cheated and it's something that I'm working on? People don't want to be that honest. You need to be that honest. You need to know, hey, if you cheat, if you step out of this marriage, I'm out. Now you know the gravity of this situation and the consequences associated with it. Now, there are people out there who say, hey, I'm willing to work through such and such problem. Whatever it is, I'm willing to work through it. Someone's going to say, hey, if you can't cook, this is not going to work out. But you need to have the conversations. And my favorite is when people say, hey, Chisha, you know, you're over here telling men to get prenup. Did you get one? Why would I give you advice that I wouldn't take myself? Oh, I get it. You think I drink decaf. So a few responses to this guy's video here. I went on a rant there for a little bit. We have this guy who says, tell black women they are queens and they deserve anything. They will eat that shit up, ignoring the red flags of the mother effer that's pandering. Somebody else responded back and says, don't mind being led astray as long as it feels good. Here's another person who says, every time. Another woman here says, you're not lying. I've always felt there was something about ace metaphor, but I couldn't quite identify it. Here's somebody else who says, this is so true. Another person here added, what does this have to do with tonight's podcast? And he responded, the guy who recorded this video, he says, they breaking up because of ace. So to say, but I ain't really like bro, he a pander. So, you know, I can't say whether I like somebody or not because I don't know them in real life, but definitely panderer for sure. We've seen plenty of evidence for that. I don't think that's a secret in itself. Here's another take on the current situation.
So that tonight's conversation podcast is basically imploding like all of this shit always does. And I find it funny because so I've watched the lives with Kidda and that other chick. They said the kitty girl ain't really said much. People still kind of waiting for that Trip dude to talk about it. They said there was some NDAs involved or something. But the Kidda chick was on live like saying stuff or whatever. And I just kind of felt from the jump. And just kind of like what I've concluded is Ace been tricking with the money. Kitty, it been perpetrating. And Ace been people. And that's usually how this goes. And it's funny because it's like women don't learn from shit. And because I've made countless videos about that Ace dude, right? And his pandering and like him doing and saying the things and, you know, that he does towards women. And it's like those dudes, whether it's Derek Jackson, whether it's him, that are just or what's his name, the Yada Awakening dude. Like anytime there's a dude who's just super pandering to women, as a woman, you have to question that. Like, why is he always telling me what I want to hear?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I mean, that goes for anybody, but for this specific situation, if that man is always that you're getting information from for life and relationships, is always telling you what you want to hear, is always on your side, is never criticizing you with healthy criticism or pointing, you know, holding the mirror up to you, you should question that. You should, if you have, you know, if you actually want growth, because every last one of these dudes be dirtbags behind the scenes. Every last one of them. Like everybody, like most of the people outside of that one, I think the first light-skinned dude that left, he was solid. He was cool to me. But like the Trip dude, right? Even him, he's always giving all this advice, blah, blah, blah. It didn't sound good. But then when you look at his actual life, dude has already said that he don't like, he date multiple women. Like, he don't married, no nothing. Like,
Oh, I didn't know that. I knew he wasn't married, but I didn't know that he says that he dates multiple women. Which is again. I hear that, and that goes back to the point I was making earlier. Because you have people who have different goals on that panel, because we can get into the whole conversation of the meaning of life and what's healthier to have one woman, and you can talk about where do your beliefs come from. I've talked to you guys about my beliefs stem from a more biblical Christian belief and approach to life. Now, in that, I know that there are values that I share that other people who may not be as religious or as spiritual, we may intersect when it comes to values. I have no problem with that. I actually have a problem with people who can't find similar points at which they may relate with other people when it comes to values, and then they write them off as like, oh, this person's terrible, and then they think they're better than other people. I don't believe that. I do not believe that whatsoever. But if the goal is not clear and you have a group of thousands of people who come together, I'm sure they probably got thousands of people to come to those conversations to discuss relationships, and each person has different goals for those relationships and they're going each and every which way, then the result from that is going to be confusion. You feel me? Guys, tell me if I'm not making sense. Comment down below. Can you see that? Even if the person once in a while, because it makes sense now that he says that, right? Even if once in a while Tripp says something that's enlightening and I'm like, okay, yeah, I can agree with that. The areas where I differ because of my values come down to the difference in the ultimate goal. I knew from the beginning that when I started transitioning towards making relationships that were more focused on relationships that lead to marriage, that there will be dudes who just wouldn't relate to me. And some of them stay because they have been listening to me for a while. But I can't act like I'm the guy who's still trying to figure out is marriage for me. And I'm dating different women and I'm trying to figure out which way I'm going to go in life and questioning all, trying to solidify my beliefs about what I think about. I can't pretend to be that. I'm now living a different life. I have a family, I have a wife, I have a kid. So it's a lot easier for me to just be real about the life I'm living. And it comes with its challenges because marriage is hard. Yes, it's hard. Drink the coffee. And that's what I talk about, right? That's what I end up talking about. And that's how I've decided I could best help men out here. I can't be talking because you guys will get mad. Be like, tell men to avoid marriage. Okay, you want me to tell men to avoid marriage? I obviously didn't do that. I was honest about what I wanted in the long run. But good point there that he brought up. I'm glad he brought that up because it helped clear some thoughts that I had.
Like, he one of those smooth talking, artsy, art poetic, but it's not like he giving even for the fella, he giving y'all advice, but he not living like that. Like, with the way he talk, you would think he would be in a successful marriage with a family, living his best life with his woman, but he not. So clearly something is there. If he was such a great guy, had all this great advice, like, dude is 2 years older than me. He almost touching 40. The kid, a chick, I don't know. I don't really,
Can I jump in there one time? I don't believe that only married men give great advice. This all comes down to a bunch of different people with a bunch of different goals in life and not one set goal. We come here to talk about how to get a husband. We come here to talk about how to get a wife. No, it was some people were, you had straight OnlyFans models there. You had straight up gold diggers. You had male 304s. You had female 304s, right? And that, I think, equal to the confusion. Let me know what you guys think of the points I've made so far.
She's just always yelling to the point where I don't really care to even know what she got going on. She's just always yelling and she loud and she just be saying shit and just be angry all the time. That's probably why that man did what he did with her, because I think she was married. So I don't know.
She?
And for just a generation, a demographic of people who are always hollering, they don't want relationships and they can't, they got to be out there and they don't trust nobody. The rise of those type of podcasts show you that people want relationships. Women want relationships. Men want relationships. Period, point blank. Y'all just suck at having them. And then you'll flock to podcasts and people who live the opposite of what they speak in. And then y'all wonder why y'all still don't have the success in the relationships. And because they're telling y'all shit y'all already know. They're telling y'all shit y'all already know, and it's common sense. And at that point, y'all go to these people and these platforms for entertainment. And y'all and it's just, I don't know. And I feel like these situations always implode because these people don't really live the authentic lives that they talk about. And so when you put all that energy, all that fake energy together, and it's a form of entertainment instead of real genuineness, it always implodes.
Yeah, that's another good point, man. I do believe that most women, and I do mean most women, I mean modern women and also women who embrace more traditional values, that they all want marriage. They all want marriage. Don't get it twisted. This is why you always see the adult film star will come out of the adult industry crying with tears and then will get married. We know it doesn't last long, but they all want marriage in the end. They all want a family. They all want kids. The biological urge to have that family eventually starts to kick in. Now, the loud ones will be like, not me. I'm not, shut up. We're not talking about you. We're talking about the majority of women out here, and that is a fact. And so you might be wondering, well, if that's the case, then why are they not getting it? I think because it's a lot like everything else that most people want. Most people want to be wealthy, right? Most people want to invest. Most people want to have nice things, but there's a lot of hard work that goes into investing. There's a lot of discipline that goes into being a consistent investor. The truth is, when you invest into something like, let's say, the stock market, most people are emotionally driven. So when they lose 10% of their portfolio, this is most people in general who invest into the market, they take their money out. And so most people can't stick to the things that they say they want. We know that most people who want to lose weight struggle with the discipline to hit the gym and to stay consistent on that diet. Why? Because it's painful. It's painful. It's great setting up and prepping the food, and we've all been there. I've been there. I've lost 60 pounds. It's hell to go through that experience. It's painful. But very rarely does somebody actually stick through and see the results. It's hard. Marriage is hard. And so I think what we're seeing more of now is, yes, people are interested in these things, but it's like the people who show up to the gym, but they never really lose weight. But the desire is there. I'll say this, eventually, man, when it comes to anything in life, you have to decide enough is enough. You have to take a closer look at yourself and realize that you're going to have to go without that thing. You can't have it all. You're going to have to pay a bill. You don't deserve a 6'10" dude with 14-inch pipe. You can't have it all. You can't have everything you want. You have to choose. It's give or take. There are decisions and then there are consequences. That's the way life works. You can't believe in the lie that you've always believed. You're not going to just one day wake up in shape. You have to feel hunger. You're not going to one day create your own channel and whatever topic. You don't have to talk about the coffee things over here, but a lot of people want to get into business or start something new, make more money. It's not going to happen until you're there, literally working day in and day out. It all takes work. And one day you have to get up and say, enough is enough. I need to change myself, my habits, and I need to improve for the better. Let's check out some of these comments. Top comment here says, I disagree on Trip take. He gives advice on knowing who you are and improving yourself. You don't have to be married to do that. So that was a response. Yeah, that's a pretty good take. Somebody else here says, you don't have to be married to understand human behavior in relationships. I agree with that. And I think I kind of said the same thing there, right? There's a conversation between, I'm not gonna go there. I'm just gonna release the video. Somebody else here says, true. He's already spoken to his own level of maturity. Ain't never been married, but always trying to get better. Yeah. Here's some coffee though for the guys who aren't married. And if you've been married, you know this. There are certain, and you can't guys, because I know there's going to be a delusional dude who's going to sit there and somehow try to figure out how to get past this. Oh, there are certain aspects, lessons when it comes to marriage that you will never understand until you are married. Not living with your baby daddy or, your baby mama. No, actually married. There's certain aspects. There's certain things I've gone through and realized, been like, you know what? I don't think this is something I would have learned if I was in a relationship where I wasn't married. Things are different when there's a heavier weight put on walking away, right? On breaking a family, especially if you're somebody who values that. Now, if you don't care, changes things. He said something about Keita maybe might have been married in the past. That explains a lot. That explains a whole lot. I didn't know that. I don't actually watch the show. Just like you guys, I'm a spectator. I see the clips. Check out a few more comments here. This person says, I'm more shocked about what Keita said about Kitty. She said Kitty has 3 baby daddies. Like they're all frauds. What? Yeah? Well, that's crazy. I'm not going to lie. That's crazy. I'm not going to lie. Why am I surprised by that? I think part of the thing is like, as a content creator, you have a choice. When you go through something, you can either lean into it and talk about overcoming that thing, or it's something that you just keep to yourself because maybe you don't know. Some people have volatile situations. I saw some stuff about like an ex of hers posting a bunch of stuff that, again, that's more on the gossip side. Like some ex was posting stuff and people were trying to say that they were involved. I don't know. It was unclear enough that I realized I would just be gossiping at the end of the day. And I don't want that to be that unless if there's like real valid proof for that. Now, is it impossible to believe that Kitty may have 3 baby dads? I don't think it's impossible. I always tell you guys that when you're finally ready to settle down, that you find all different types of women in a different state. And we're only talking about women here who are a prospect for a marriage, if that's what you value. Is that you find women who have only trauma, and you find women who have trauma. Hopefully they've healed, right? They've healed from trauma, but don't have a kid. And you're looking at them and you'll be like, okay, you know what? I've been through some shit too. No children. You're not like too old for me to invest in, because that is a thing for men. Men are allowed to have an age preference of women who they're attracted to. It's funny. I can say that, but somewhere a woman's out there, a modern woman's out there rolling her eyes. And then you have the women you run into and they have a kid, but they have healed as well. Some of these women get into relationships and they do get into marriages. The goal for you is to make sure that you don't get a bad deal. And only you can decide that. Only you can say, no, this is too much for me. The tendency for a lot of men is they want to fix and want to do the white knight thing and fix women who they're with instead of trying to figure out the best deal for them, regardless of how much you love that woman. Because love is not what's going to get you through. It's you knowing yourself, knowing what you're willing to deal with. Are you willing to deal with other kids? Are you willing to deal with problems that this person's had in the past? Because chances are they might be perpetual. They might rear their head up again. That's what you want to know. Let's read a few more comments here. This commenter says, this is why Tony Gaskins was calling Ace out. We'll talk about that. Somebody else here says, man, Keita is saying good stuff sometimes, but she 100% is hella loud for no reason. So I tune out when she talks. Yeah, man. That's what I thought. It's just too much loudness. And she's kind of, modern woman vibes for sure. Here's another person who says Trip and Kitty were emotionally intelligent and spoke with logic. Kita is for the entertainment. Ace was there just to be there. I think a lot of people look at Ace like, because I keep on seeing that, oh, we never really went to go watch the live shows of the people that went, or they never really attended these events. For him, I look at him as more of a mastermind who was able to bring these people to the conversation. I think he probably knew very quickly that most people were there to hear his guests. Somebody else who says Trip speaks from a perspective of reformation. And another person who says, I agree with most, but Trip is always very transparent on how he operates in his life. He speaks on emotional intelligence, really less about relationships. Okay, so it seems like the general consensus here is that most people know that Trip dates multiple women, right? He has multiple women and dates multiple women, and they look up to him for his emotional intelligence. Let's see what else we have here.
So apparently the panel for tonight's conversation podcast is breaking up. It's been a day. And I can't say that I'm surprised. That podcast was right for whatever drama that is causing the breakup. Keita Rose and Kitty have already been on social media exchanging jabs and all of this, but that podcast always gave Derek Jacks, Dr. Cheyenne Bryan vibes. And by that, I mean people who portray something and pretend to be so profound on social media, but behind closed doors, living a different life.
Right.
I eventually blocked the page on here on TikTok because I just couldn't take Keita Rose and that other girl who always were pro-women saying the most stupid things. I couldn't stand Keita Rose when she was on DD in the morning. I'm glad she left that. Kitty and Trip always had, a little snippet, but they were neutral. I can deal with people who are neutral and genderless thoughts. They deal in reality, not delusion. But you could always tell that something was going to happen because, for instance, Kitty and Trip always seem to get most of the attention in the comments. People like their thinking. That was always going to become a jealousy thing as the podcast grew, because you'll have stars and then you'll have like supporting cast. It's like the Temptations. Nobody coming to see you, Otis. People are really there for Trip and Kitty. So whatever the issue is, I'm actually kind of happy the podcast is breaking up, because there's always podcasts full of people who be outside of Kitty. I don't think anyone's married on that podcast. So a bunch of marriedless people talking about profound relationships. Get that shit out of here. Wrap it up.
Oh, man.
Wrap it up.
Hold on. Is this? I wonder if she made a take on this whole situation.
I think a lot of women are bothered.
Hold on. Let me go see. Did she? Nope. Yep. I'm just a girl. I came to check. All right, here we are. We're going to read a few comments. All right. So top comment here. Oh, look. Keita Rose responded. She says, it's okay that you didn't like me. I felt out I wasn't jealous. Here's somebody else who responded back and said, just for clarity, I wasn't talking about personally. I don't know you personally, but you, I think it's supposed to say your outlooks are very biased and one-sided. The jealous comment wasn't about you. That was about the larger concept. I think that what he might have meant is the same thing we all pretty much see is she comes across loud, difficult. I mean, like she's like stereotypical loud modern woman feminist. I mean, let me go check out her page. And I think part of this may be because she's a comedian, but something tells me this is real life. Like, for example, check out this video here. Where is it?
I'm getting rammed from the back, and I noticed the gentleman is grabbing onto the fatty part of like my side here.
So she's talking about getting rammed from the back, cheeks clapped from the back, and the man is grabbing the fat on the side. And sounds comedic, but it's just, this is like, this is it.
And I asked him politely the next morning, like, can you don't do that because, it makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit insecure. And he said, well, if they're not there to hold on to what do you have them there for? Touche. Touche.
Interesting. Huh. Did she make it?
This ain't gonna read.
Hold on.
Hi, and welcome to episode 1 of Who the Did I Work For? So because I'm unemployed, this is my content now. So if you like content like this, like, share, subscribe. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit that little bell notification. So this is the creator of the pod. This is Randy Rosario, Mike the Poet, Trip Fontaine, Fine Ass Keita Rose, and Mojo Jojo. A lot of you guys are like, well, I don't care about this or that. Where's my favorite? Oh, shit, there she go to your favorite. She be dropping them gems. This is Kitty Rose. She got Randy out quick, fast. She said, I want your spot. How can I manipulate everyone to get it? I'm going to detail that, though, in the following episodes. It's going to be like 500 episodes. Uh-oh, bonus feature. This guy says he used to be with Kitty, but that can't be true because it would have been around the time she was married, and she can't stand side. She can't stand cheating women.
Wait, what? It's just getting wild. It's getting crazy.
Oh, the drama, the tea. Hope we all heal.
See, something about her something about her, I just comes across like this is her element, right? Drama, chaos, this, like, if she's in the room, she will have a problem with somebody eventually. You know what I mean? Like the type of energy of like, there's going to be some type of misunderstanding somewhere. It's just a matter of time. I don't know. Listen, guys, that's about it. I do have a couple more videos that I'll get into later on regarding this whole topic, because I think this is like an important moment and introduces a lot of different conversations that could be had. As always curious to know what you think. Leave your comments, thoughts down below. To my soon to be married and currently engaged man, head over to fathershaverights.com and get yourself the #1 guide to drafting a solid and legally binding prenuptial agreement. It's 100% free with offer code review. Again, 100% free with offer code review. Appreciate you. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.